Hey there! You ever stop and think about how our language is just full of secret codes? Phrases that don't literally mean what they say, but somehow we all get it. Well, today, we're going to crack one of the biggest codes of all, the metaphor. So, you ready? Let's get our detective hats on, because our investigation starts right now. All right, detective hat on? Good. We've got a brand new case file to open, and this one, it's a real head scratcher. We've got a mystery on our hands, and it all kicks off with our very first clue. Okay, here it is, our first piece of evidence. Someone makes this really odd statement. The classroom was a zoo. Now, if we take that literally, well, we've got a serious problem. Right? That's the big question. There aren't any lions, no monkeys, no cages. So what in the world is this person actually trying to say? This is the heart of our mystery. Okay, so here's our game plan, straight from the case file. First, we'll crack the basic code of the metaphor itself. Then, we'll learn to spot a common imposter that's designed to throw us off. After that, we'll hunt down some metaphors that are in disguise. And finally, we'll uncover the motive, the why behind it all. Okay, let's dive right in. If we're going to solve this thing, we've got to understand the code we're up against. So let's get a clear definition of our target, the metaphor. So here's the deal. A metaphor is a direct comparison. See, it's not saying something is kind of like something else. No, it's way more direct. It says one thing is another thing, period. The whole point is to transfer the qualities of one thing over to another to paint this really strong picture in your head. And the key thing to remember is this isn't literal, right? When somebody says, my brother is a piglet, they don't mean he's actually growing a curly tail. What they're really doing is taking all the stuff we think of when we hear piglet, messy, maybe a little greedy, and just sticking those qualities onto their brother. It's like a shortcut, a code for his behavior. Let's check out some more of these clues from the case file. Her smile is sunshine. Is her smile actually a giant ball of gas in space? No, of course not. But it's warm, it's bright, it makes you feel good. You get it. Or how about time is a thief? Time doesn't have little hands to sneak into your pocket, but man, it sure does steal away our moments, doesn't it? And the snow was a blanket. It's not made of yarn, but it covers everything up, all soft and quiet. See the pattern here? You're starting to get it. All right, detective, you're doing great. But now things get a little tricky. In any good case, you're going to run into decoys and lookalikes. And in our world, the biggest one is called a simile. And it's designed to look almost exactly like a metaphor. Just look at this. A tiny little word changes everything. The metaphor is so strong, so direct. She was a cheetah. Boom. But the simile, it's a little more hesitant. She runs like a cheetah. That little word like is the giveaway. It's the clue that tells you you've got an imposter on your hands. And that right there is the smoking gun. A simile will always, and I mean 100% of the time, use the word like or as to make the comparison. If you spot one of those words, you've nabbed the imposter. It's not a metaphor. Case closed on that one. So let's pull out our official detective's cheat sheet and really nail this down. A metaphor says something is something else. Direct, strong. The moon was a silver lantern. A simile just says it's like something else, a little softer. The moon was like a silver lantern. Keep this sheet handy, okay? It's basically foolproof. Okay, so we're getting good at this. We can spot a metaphor. We can spot its imposter, the simile, but some metaphors are sneaky. They're basically masters of disguise, hiding right out in the open. So it's time to unmask them. So, suspect number one is something called personification. This is a really cool type of metaphor where you give human qualities or actions to something that isn't human at all. It's a clever trick to make the world around us feel a little more alive, almost like it's acting like one of us. I mean, think about it. The wind whispered secrets. Can wind actually whisper? Nope, but it totally paints a picture of a soft, quiet breeze, right? Or, my alarm clock yells at me in the morning. It doesn't have a mouth, but boy, does it feel like yelling. And when a car grumbled, we all know exactly what that sounds like. That's personification. All right, our next disguise is basically the drama queen of language. It's called hyperbole. And this is all about extreme exaggeration, just going way, way over the top to make a point or just to be funny. It's not meant to be taken literally, not even for a second.
I mean, here's the classic, right? I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. Are you actually going to go eat a horse? Probably not. But saying that is way more fun and powerful than just saying, I'm really hungry. It paints this ridiculous but really vivid picture.
So, yeah, hyperbole isn't a lie. It's all about emphasis. It's like taking a volume knob for your words and just cranking it all the way up to 11. When your friend says their backpack weighs a ton, you know what they mean. It's just really, really heavy.
Okay, we've cracked the code. We've spotted the imposters. We've unmasked the disguises. We are on a roll. But there's one last piece to any investigation: the motive. Why? Why do people do this? Why not just say what you mean?
Well, here's the top secret file on the motive. First, they create these amazing pictures in your mind that plain old words just can't. Second, let's be honest, it just makes language way more interesting. Third, they're perfect for explaining really tricky feelings or big, complex ideas. And finally, like we just saw with hyperbole, they add a ton of emphasis.
And get this, here's a cool little fact that just ties this whole thing up with a bow. The word metaphor actually comes from a Greek word that means to transfer. How perfect is that? Because that's exactly what it does. It transfers meaning, feeling, and qualities from one thing to another. The meme itself was the biggest clue all along. And with that, case closed. Seriously, you've done it. You've learned how to spot metaphors, how to tell them apart from their tricky lookalikes, and you know exactly why they're so important. You're not just a reader anymore. You're a code breaker. You are officially a metaphor detective.
So I'm going to leave you with one last thing to think about. Now that you've got your detective badge, look around. What metaphor describes what's going on with you right now? Is your day a roller coaster? Is that project a mountain you have to climb? The codes are literally everywhere. Now you know how to crack them.